Let's talk to God. One more thing, like, subscribe, and share. Come on, let's talk to God. Woo!
Good evening, everybody. Hey, it's Cutler here on the Let's Talk to Cutler broadcast, the Let's Talk to Cutler YouTube channel, the Let's Talk to Cutler virtual book club. And how about that song? I still cannot get that song out of my head, but you guys are in tune for what I think is going to be an exciting evening. I think I mentioned Tuesday that I'm traveling, and you can see that my background is different. I'm not in a hotel anymore, but I'm not at my regular place. Actually, I have lots of friends gathered around, so you're going to hear them participating. We're going to keep talking about building relationships and building life relationships. But I'll tell you one person who's here. How many of you all really like that song? Devin, who does the primary vocals, is here, and Juan, who composed it and does some of the vocals. They're both here, and I'm excited about it because some of my other friends are here. I know, if just in case you all don't believe me, Devin, can you just sing any part of this song, whatever? One more thing. Sing something so that people know that I'm not lying.
One more thing, like, subscribe, and share. Come on, let's talk to God. Woo!
All right, what did y'all think of that? So it's a live group of friends. What did you all think of Devin's song?
Encore.
They are saying, Devin, and hello, everyone. And you all listen, just in case people don't know after all this time what this channel is about, you all know, so I'm going to tell them that this channel is about inspiration. It's about motivation. It's about trying to show up better tomorrow than we did today, trying to make sure that we've shown up better today than we did yesterday. And as I always said, it's making sure that you present your best self even in your worst situations. One of the things I do know is that life will present a whole lot of situations where we need to show up our best selves. I always say that things will call on our integrity, things will challenge our character, and you always want to show up your best self in the midst of sorrow, in the midst of heartache, in the midst of hardships, in the midst of being challenged, all those sorts of things. And so that's what this platform is all about. So tell people, come on and let's talk the color, for goodness sakes. But we're going to keep talking about building relationships. I want to shout out the LTTC VIPs. Just in case you're not one, the LTTC VIPs are the people who show up in the chat first. So let me just do a quick shout out to see who is over here, because I see so many people joining over in the chat. Let's see, T. Cutler, Tracy Johnson, and Marissa are all the first people in the chat. But I see lots of my friends. I see Hattie, I see Trace, I see Paula D, I see M. Harris, I see Devin, I see Sharon, I see Tina. I see so many people. So thank you all for being here with me. I hear Jay Song, and can you all just holler present? I mean, but we are going to talk about, I wanted to keep talking about building relationships because, as you all know, and I shared this with you the last time we were here, that I went to back-to-back funerals in the past few days. And what I realized while sitting there was that what was most important were the relationships that were formed and the relationships that were forged. And what I realized, you all, is that some of this is me being transparent and personal. Some of they're still saying, Devin, I love you. So check out the chat. But one of the things that I realized just sitting in those funerals, you all, was that for me, my greatest rewards have not taken place in the moments of isolation. My greatest rewards have taken place because of the people whose lives I was connected to and because of the people who were connected to my life. And so that's just the nugget that I want to drop out there. Make sure that you're connected to people who add something to your life. A lot of times we're connected to people, and I don't really want to talk about a lot of the negative connections that we have, but just understand this. When you survey your connections, when you survey the people in your life, think about what you are trying to do with your life. Think about what you're trying to build. Think about what you are trying to achieve. And I often say that there are people whose brick just doesn't fit my foundation. It doesn't mean that they're bad people. It doesn't mean that there's necessarily anything. So what do you all think about that, honestly?
That brick doesn't fit my foundation. That's it.
Right. And so it doesn't necessarily mean that they're bad people. It just means for whatever you're trying to build, they just don't fit.
Right.
And I'm not offended by that because there's some people whose foundations I don't fit. I don't necessarily fit their foundations. And one of the things we have to do is learn to be at peace when people don't have purpose in your life. Learn to be at peace when people don't have purpose in your life, because a lot of times we want people in our life, but destiny and purpose says, and there's that little voice sometimes inside when you're trying to connect with people, you want to connect with people, but something says, not the best decision.
Right.
Not the best decision. And it is no reflection on their integrity or their character, but that's just life saying, no, let's think about this and perhaps go a different way. So I'm looking at the quotes. I see some of the people say, Rachel, I see you saying 100% true, 100% true. So what I want to talk about is building life's relationships. And I want to talk about how to do that, because a lot of times people say, well, Cutler, how do I do that? I hear you saying a lot of things, but can you model for me what that looks like? Can you tell me how to go about doing it? And just to recap a part of our conversation the last time we were here, I talked about one of the easy things to do, one of the easiest things to do in terms of beginning the process of relationship building. And this sounds strange, but it's just to smile. Think about how many times you've met a stranger in the mall and you just walk past them and you just smile. That built some type of relationship, albeit it was short term. There was nothing long term intended by that. Sometimes long term situations occur and result, but just think about passing by a stranger and think about the look on your face and what that said. But I think that when you smile, you say to them, I'm glad to be in humanity with you. I'm glad to be a part of this with you. I may never see you again, but I've had the pleasure of encountering you just for this brief moment. And that's building a life relationship. And that my grandmother used to say that she would say, this is how she would say it. She would say, that don't cost you nothing. And it doesn't cost us anything to share a smile and build a relationship, no matter how short term it may be. So I want to ask you all, when you see strangers, are you inclined to smile, look away, or frown? You all talk to me in the chat and here in the room.
That happened to me today.
Okay.
When I went to pick up ice cream.
Go ahead. Okay,
Yeah,
so tell me about
yeah,
it.
when I went to pick up
So
ice
this is my
cream.
friend. So y'all can't see her, but this is my friend Tina talking. So she said it happened when you went to pick up ice cream.
I went to pick up ice cream today, and I was walking to my truck, and this lady, even though she had on a mask, she spoke, and I smiled, and she was like, "Oh, have a great day," and it was like she wanted to have a conversation, but smile says a lot.
Yeah, and it didn't cost you anything. It added to your day.
Right. Yeah. So and interact with her.
Okay.
You know?
Go ahead.
We have one look away. That was a look away.
But no.
Okay. Well, hang on.
Okay.
So you're the kind who looks away.
Well, it depends.
Okay. Go ahead.
It depends on what time of morning it is, and if it's pre or post coffee.
Okay.
If it's pre coffee, I'm looking away.
So
If I had my coffee.
So one person, he's here. He said it depends on how his morning is going, because if it's before his coffee, he's going to look away. And I want to talk about that because we have a couple things going on. Smiling is one, but then making eye contact is another. And in the chat, they're saying, yes, I usually smile. I'm typically smiling. Sharon, what about you? Do you smile or do you frown? Or what's your expression when you just meet people?
Smiler.
You're a smiler?
Usually when I meet you, I smile. And
Okay.
it sparks some conversations.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's an easy way to just open the floor and open the door for relationship. And just to recap, you all, another thing that I talked about in terms of building a relationship is making eye contact.
Oh, yeah.
And I talked about this in particular because I was thinking, how many times do we get? So I need to survey you all. How many times do we get on an elevator? And when you walk on, and when you get in the elevator, how many times you just scurry to the buttons and you just push the button and you look at the door, the wall, or the ceiling? How many times do we do that? And the question was, this is the challenge question, is not your fellow human being worth making eye contact?
Right.
Am I not worth more than looking at the floor, the ceiling, or the wall? So what do you all do when you get on the elevator? Because
it's not the unspoken rule. You push your button and you Keep to yourself.
I don't know that it's an unspoken rule, Jay Song.
Well, everybody does it. I mean,
I don't. How many? So around the table.
I don't have a conversation depending on. I'm never going to enter any room, especially a small space, and not speak ever. And an elevator is a small space. So I'm never going to walk on and just push my button. Hey, how are you? You know, and if it's something, you know, there's some kind of vibe there, I might talk, chit chat, small talk. I'm more likely to look away from a person I once knew. Turn my head. I don't want to see an old classmate when I look a mess.
Okay.
But a stranger, hello, hi. You know.
So Marlon, what about you when it comes to when you walk into an elevator or when somebody walks in an elevator and you're there? Do you tend to look away or do you attempt to try to make? You don't. Okay. Okay.
Oh look.
Well, I want to challenge us because if we're really thinking about this person has value on the earth, and that's just how I see it. So if we're talking about, and again, you on this channel is about inspiration, it's about motivation, but it's also about challenging us to show up our best selves, even in the worst of situations. And sometimes you have to ask yourself, what do I owe humanity? What do I owe my fellow man, my fellow brother, my fellow sister? What do I owe them? Do I owe them anything? And a lot of times we walk around in isolation. We walk around like an island to ourselves, and we really don't think of the worth that other people add. But I challenge us, think of the worth that other people add to this thing that's called creation. And that should challenge us to say, you know what? Let me at least try to make eye contact. They may not reciprocate, but I'm talking to us. Those of us who are really trying to build life's connections. And when I say life's connections, I'm not talking about long-term relationships. I'm talking about connecting to humanity. One of my favorite quotes is by Dr. Maya Angelou, who said, "Because I am human, nothing in the human experience is ever foreign to me." And so when you meet people, they may have a down day, they may have an up day, they may have a sad day, a bad day, but because we're humans, that should not be foreign to us. And to some degree, we should be able to make a connection with them. So you all tell me what you think again about making eye contact. Doug, what do you think about making eye contact in the elevator? I just want to hear, and I'm going to share what some people are saying. Tracy said it depends on the feeling I get when enclosed in small spaces. And I do agree, Tracy, that we have to be very discerning a lot of times. So you just don't want to walk in and just, be the life of a party in an elevator that's a 5x5 or 4x4. I get that. Paula D says, I speak when I enter an elevator. It's good to see you always. Please tell my 100-year-old friend that I said hi. Please make sure that you say a hello to Miss Evelyn for me. All right. So Doug, what do you think?
Entering?
Yeah. When you enter an elevator.
More likely if it's one person, I'll probably speak more so if it's full. If it's full, I'm kind of probably not intimidated, but I probably won't. Just not focusing. You just want to get in there and just get off. But if it's like one or two, I'd be more willing or likely to say something.
All right. Okay. So we're gonna smile. We're gonna make eye contact. What about scheduling quality time? You all know I'm a stickler for we make time for the people who are important to us. Yep. Whoa. Have you ever called people or sent a text message and they just ignored it? Or you don't know whether they ignored it or not, but what you do know is that they didn't respond. Excuse me. People around the table clearing their throats and doing a whole lot of stuff.
We are the ignorers, I think.
Are you all the ignorers? But one of the things that's important if you're interested in building relationships with people is scheduling quality time. And that doesn't mean we have to go on a long vacation, take a long trip together, but you carve out time for people who are important. And you have to make that time. And one of the things that I appreciate about us even being here this evening is that people carve time out of their schedule to be here, and those sorts of things make a world of difference. And I'm particularly thankful because many of these people are here just because I happen to be here, but they're my friends, and it says volumes. And y'all, I'm not gonna get mushy. Listen, they here, so I'm just gonna pretend I'm talking to y'all. But when you have friends who make time is one of the one things that we don't get back. Time is one of the one thing, it's one of the things that's more valuable than any jewelry that you have in your house. It's more than the money that you have in your bank, because it cannot be replaced. It cannot be replenished. You don't get any do-overs. You don't get any of that stuff when it comes to time. So when you carve out your time, or when people carve out time for you, be thankful, be appreciative. All right. So much for that. So much for that. One of the other things in terms of making and building relationships. And again, this comes from the place of having sat in funerals. And I'm thinking, these relationships were important to me. Their time was important to me. It was an honor to be a part of their life. It was an honor to have them as a part of my life. And one of the things that I did with the people whose lives I celebrated, I made sure I listened with my heart. So you all, so I want to hear what you all think about listening with your heart, because a lot of times we have external noise. We have a whole lot of stuff that's going on. But one of the things that I'm a firm believer in is paying attention to how you listen to other people. I think that you need to be an active listener, because perhaps you hear them speak, but you don't really listen to what they have to say. And while you're listening, the question is, are you formulating your response before they get finished? Have you all ever had a situation where you're asking a question, you're saying something, and as soon as you finish talking, the person gives an automatic response, and you say, "That's not what I said." Anybody also around the table, have y'all ever had that experience? You say, that's not really what I was saying, and their response was not on point at all. So, and how did that make you feel? Talk to me. How did that make you feel? So you say, that's not really what I was saying. So are you listening to me? It makes me feel disregarded.
Right.
It makes me feel unimportant. It makes me feel unvalued. It makes me feel not considered at all. And if you're going to build life relationships with people, learn to listen with your heart. Because a lot of times people are saying things but not with their mouths. Yeah, so you have to. So right. So you have to look at their body language, their eye contact, because a lot of times people know how to communicate with their bodies when they can't communicate with their mouths. All right. A lot of times people can communicate with their bodies when they can't communicate with their mouths. They can communicate, I'm sad, I'm tired, I'm disgusted, I'm despondent, I don't know what to do. And that comes from their bodies and not necessarily their mouths. All right. So make sure that you're not the person who has a tendency to finish people's sentences and interrupt them and start talking about your own experience. I'm telling you, I have coworkers who will just, as soon as you say something, they'll say, "Oh yeah, because that reminds me of when I so and so and so." It's not about you at the moment. Yeah, that's one of the things that you never want to do. If you're trying to build life's relationships with people, you don't want to turn the conversation and the spotlight on you. So a lot of times, so Doug, you don't want to turn the spotlight on you. Doug, what are you talking about?
You listen with your heart.
Okay, with my heart.
Yeah, they get it. But does that resonate with you all? I see Marlon M. Harris says body language is very important. Tracy says it makes me feel ignored. Somebody says Jay Song's Juan's expression is always a smile. So So, and I'm glad that you all like this. Hey, Paula. I'm telling you all, this is important. And these people, again, these people whose lives I celebrated were both older than I. And one of the things that I learned from them was that they were never too old to listen with their heart. They paid attention to, whenever I was around, when I got to know about them, they listened to people. They listened to what they said, what they didn't say. And those sorts of things are important. And I took comfort in the fact that I was a part of their lives, because when people hear what you don't say, that's one of the ways that they embrace you. When they hear what you don't say and give you a chance to keep speaking, even without talking from your mouth. That's important. That is a life's relationship that can never be undone, that can never be replaced. So learn to do that. And then I don't know what y'all gonna say when I get to this one, but love. Actively love people. If we're talking about building relationships, actively love, because love is not just a noun. Love is a verb. And it manifests itself so differently. And there is no protocol for how it has to be manifested. There's no protocol for how it has to be executed. There's no protocol for how it has to be displayed. There's no protocol for how it has to be carried out. But just know that what you do it from your heart. Just do it from your heart. If you write me a note on a Post-it pad and you do it from your heart, I get it. And that note will mean more to me than any Hallmark card that you can ever go out and buy. Right. So let's learn. And I'm just offering this, y'all, as we move forward, because I've heard over the past 7 days, I've heard about a death every single day. And so I wanted to come from the perspective of saying, let's do better. Let's do better with building life's relationships, because if we're talking about being able to show up our best selves, even in the worst of situations, it's about how we respond to humanity. It's about how we respond to the people whose lives we are a part of. So you want to make sure that you do that and learn to communicate. Oh my God. So tell me, what do you all think of communicating what I call consciously? Relationships require open, compassionate, and conscious communication. How many of you all have ever sat around people and you walked away saying, I didn't have to do that. Didn't have to be there. I don't know what they were talking about.
Oh my God.
That conversation was meaningless. Or you could have sent me that in the text message. So that's all you had to say? So you walk away feeling meaningless, or at least like the conversation was meaningless. You walk away feeling empty. But one of the things about communication is that should be heartfelt. It should be heartfelt. So again, this is nothing profound. This is nothing prolific, but these are just life's lessons that I wanted to add and offer to us this evening, because as we're building meaningful relationships, don't forget these pieces that your mother, your grandmother, your father, your grandfather, your uncle, your aunt, or somebody taught you. Don't forget these pieces. This is what makes life meaningful. This is what makes people matter. And you want to make sure that people know that they matter. So Cutler, what else are you saying to us? I'm saying just dig a little deeper. Dig a little deeper into relationships. And I'm not talking about romantic relationships. I'm talking about platonic relationships, friendships between brothers and sisters. Just dig a little deeper. One of the things that my mother has always said to me is, don't let people come and go out of your life without getting to know them. You don't let people meander in and out of your lives without getting to know them, because as you all have heard me say, I've quoted one of my favorite movies, and one of my favorite parts of the movies. One of my favorite movies is The Color Purple. And one of my favorite parts of that movie is when they were walking through the flowers. And as they were walking through the flowers, I think it was Shug Avery who said, it must piss God off how people can walk past The Color Purple and not even notice it. I wonder what he thinks about us walking past people and act like we don't even notice them.
Wow.
If we are the greatest among creation, what must the Creator think when we walk past his greatest creation and act like we don't even see them? That's why, to me, and I haven't always done this, but that's why, to me, it is important now that when I walk in an elevator, I acknowledge the greatest of creation. That's why when I'm walking down the street, it's important to me that I acknowledge the greatest among creation. That's why when I'm driving in traffic and people can push your buttons and do a whole lot of things, but that's why it's important to me that I acknowledge the greatest of creation, as if the Creator purposefully put them in my path. So when I say dig deeper, I mean, many people often say, Sharon, that they often say that, particularly my colleagues, they would say, I have more days behind me than I do ahead of me. And for me, it is important that I do a better job with the days that I have ahead of me than I did with the ones behind me. Because a lot of times we reach these pivotal ages in life and we say, have I done the best thing? Have I done the right thing? Did I manage my time wisely? Is this something I can be proud of? Am I okay with this? Was I good steward? Was I good steward of not just my time and my money, but was I a good steward over the lives that came into my life? And so when I'm challenging us to build relationships, that's what I'm talking about. Are we doing okay? Are we doing a good job with the relationships that we have? Let's say if I pass with someone that gets an elevator elevator, I will either smile, say hi, hello, or wave. And I think that's a good thing. It makes me think that they're not listening to me already, have preconceived ideas. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And these are not things. Again, these are not things that we don't know. Another thing I suggest to us is to learn how to be present. Learn how to be present. Learn how to focus. I have a friend who's probably sitting around the table and shall remain nameless, but I have one friend who it just annoys him whenever people are in his presence on the cell phones. I think that's probably the consensus with my friends who are here this evening. We don't get together and just pick up our cell phones. Because if we picked up our cell phones, we could just create a text party.
Right.
But what is important is to be present. And you cannot be 100% present when you're dealing with two other things. Because if you're dealing with two other things, that at least says to me you're only 98% present. But it means being present and being focused, because in the moment when you're not paying attention to what I have to say, I could be giving you some of the deepest and darkest things, some of the most painful things that have taken place in my life.
Right.
And then if you've missed that,
Yeah.
if you miss that and you allow me to sink into an abyss, I don't feel like telling you that again,
No.
because it was painful enough for me to pull it out and
Yep.
say it to you. And so I don't trust you. I don't trust that you'll do right with that sensitive piece that I was just offering you. So I'm suggesting let's learn how to do better. Let's learn how to be present and focus on other people. Tracy says, yes, being on the phone right in front of someone, it can be rude. It can be absolutely rude, because a lot of times people may need you. They may need what you have to offer. They may need the respect. They may need what I sometimes call, not necessarily the validation, because we really don't get to validate people, but we affirm them, because the Creator validated me when He allowed me to come to the earth. That's who validated me. So don't ever let people think that they validate you, because you are valuable whether they ever say anything to you or not. Your value is going to extend if nobody makes eye contact. Y'all can clap, so they're clapping. So your value is going to continue and endure whether they make eye contact with you or not, whether they smile at you or not, whether they carve time out for you or not. And a lot of times we give people the power to think that they have manipulated us because they didn't smile at me, they didn't make eye contact with me, they didn't do that. But I need, as I wrap this up, I want you to know that you don't give people that power. And if you've given people that power, take a page from my book, call them, text them, email them, write them, and simply say to them, listen, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that I allowed you to think that you had that much power over my life. Because when you are seeking to build relationships and people reject what you have, it's okay. Be at peace with knowing that they may not be the brick. But as you are building relationships, everybody deserves respect. Even if your brick doesn't fit my life, I owe you the respect. I owe you respect as a fellow person in humanity. And I think I'll round this out. Well, one, I want to say thank you to those of you who are here and those of you who are being very responsive in the chat this evening. I think one of the things that I want to offer us is sometimes when I'm doing these chats, it doesn't come to me until somewhere in the middle of the conversation what's on the offering plate. I want to offer us the power to be authentic. I want to offer us the right to be organic, because if we're building relationships and if we're offering ourselves to people want the authentic you. Mm-hmm. People want the genuine you. And I offer all of us the power to be authentic in the relationships that we are trying to build. Mm-hmm. Because one of the worst things that could happen is you build a relationship based on lies. Mm-hmm. And you're saying, Cutler, well, how did I lie? I just didn't tell them such and such and such. Well, you concealed. And concealing weapons can be criminal. And so when you think about concealing the human weapons that could have potentially hurt, that's criminal. That is what we call unconscionable. And it shocks the conscience of humanity when you show up and you try to build a relationship and you're not your authentic self. And so I want to offer us that this evening. And I want to say thank you for allowing me to come into whatever space you've allowed me to come into. I want to say thank you, whether it's your living room, your bedroom, your home, your front porch, your back porch, or wherever it is. I want to remind you to be authentic in your relationships and don't conceal who you are. But let's do better. Let's do better. And again, Cutler, what is the impetus of your conversation? The impetus of my conversation is thankfulness that I had a chance to have those people in my life. And I honor them and I'm thankful. And I've said it before. Thank you. And I've said it before. One of the things that that's important to me is that, wait, Cutler, can your friends sing an early happy birthday song to you? T Cutler. Well, my birthday is tomorrow. And by the way, it's allergies, y'all. That's just allergies. But I told you all the good news. Those of you who know, I'm standing. So this is the second day that I've been able to stand and walk on both feet. So that's good news. So y'all can clap. Isn't that good news? And what is today? And Friday. No, tomorrow is Friday. And tomorrow is my birthday, you all. Tomorrow is my birthday. So I'm excited about that. Now, T. Cutler, people are in the comments with you, so you can ask them. She said, wait, can your friends say, huh? But again, you all, my point is, as I wrap this up, thank you all for the don't conceal who you are. It's Sharon Wright. Don't conceal who you are, because it's a crime to humanity. It's a crime to humanity when you hide who you are, because you can't build an authentic relationship when you're not authentic yourself. You just cannot. You have to be authentic, and don't apologize for being authentic, because you give people the option to decide to let you in or not. All right. So I don't know what these people around the table are. That just chit chat. Oh, so they are talking. What are you all doing? Mm-hmm.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Carla. Happy birthday to you.
Oh my God. So I have to give you all, did you all hear them? Y'all heard them? I gotta go. Because I know that there's a slight delay, so I'm just giving you all a chance to respond and let me know if you heard them. Because I see, sounds like a choir. Somebody said sounds like a choir. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 of them. And they're applauding you all. But thank you all. My friends are amazing. They are a true blessing to my life. Some of you all know that for 3 years, I taught online when the pandemic hit. Of course, I was here Tuesdays and Thursdays for the Let's Talk to Cutler broadcast, but also on Sunday mornings, I did a Sunday school Bible study. And many of my friends around this table were some of the biggest supporters of that online Sunday school, and the success of that Sunday school was contributed in part to their presence. And so I'm just thankful for enduring and long-lasting friendships. Y'all go out and build relationships and make them count and make people matter, and let them know that don't let people in and out of your life who you love without them knowing that you love them. And I'll end on that note. So let's keep doing what we do. Let's keep building community. Let's keep building community. Let's keep making sure that we empower each other. Keep your heads up, keep your hopes up, stay safe, stay sane, and let's do what we do. Know that from my heart to yours, there is and always will be so much love. I'll see you the next time. Tell people, come on, let's talk to Cutler. Good night, everybody. And enjoy happy Juneteenth. I'm out of here. Until the next time.